You're listening to the TEDx Newcastle University podcast. In this podcast, you'll hear all about what it's like to be part of the TEDx Newcastle University Society and how we plan our annual conference and event, which we have coming up soon and we can't wait to share with you. Hello, I'm Ash, and I'm president of TEDx Newcastle University. We are a student-led society at Newcastle University, and I'm delighted to share today the story of how myself and Gabriella, our vice president, who is here with me in the studio today, went all the way to California for TEDWomen. I'd like to now introduce you to Gabby. Gabby, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role in the society?
Hi, so thank you for having me. So I'm the vice president of TEDx Newcastle University. I'm a biomedical genetics student from Lithuania. I have quite a few of passions, but most of them involve management and people and business. So that's why I'm here next to you and why we run the beautiful, amazing, incredible society that we do and plan those amazing projects.
Exactly. And we have 139 students in our society, and it's growing all the time. So we are probably one of the most international student societies that isn't a official international society. So that isn't after a particular culture or a group. It's anyone is welcome in our space. And that's really exciting. I know for both of us, we love that element of diversity, of thought, of cultures, of religions. It's just such a special, unique group of people that come together once a week.
Absolutely.
So as well as our society of 139, where we watch TED Talks once a week and we discuss them, we play riddles, we also have a committee behind the scenes who make the magic happen. And that is a lot of hard work because across that committee, you've got different functions. You've got finance, sponsorship, marketing, logistics.
Yes, people, engagement, anything around you can think of.
Absolutely. And even things down to booking rooms and making sure the emails go out, making sure socials are created. There's quite a lot going on. We also like to engage with members in our local community. So business folk, startups. There's a lot of events we've ran where we've had information evenings and things like this. And we're really excited because as a society, we put on an annual conference, and that's really good. So in 2018 and 2019, we've had a TEDx conference, and it's been sold out on both occasions, which leads us to why we went to California. So when we went to California, we knew that if we went and actually attended a TED event, we would be able to apply for a license that is 100 plus rather than limited at 100 people. And that is a really important thing for anybody, any TEDx organizer, because if you don't have that license, you can't have more than 100 guests, you can't raise over a certain amount of money, and there's a lot of restrictions that you're limited to. So when Gabriella and I applied for TEDx committee and were elected to our positions, we knew straight away that growth was really important. And between us, we both applied to go to TEDWomen in California. And one of the challenges was that we didn't know who would be approved because you don't just get to go. You have to actually apply to TED and hope that one of you will be taken. And what happened in the end was we were both accepted. So we decided to go together, which was amazing. And the benefit of that now is that we now qualify potentially for a 100 plus license. So ideally our society can grow. But it also means that there are some big sacrifices there for the next few years. And I wonder if you'd like to say something about those sacrifices, Gabby.
So it was a once-in-a-lifetime probably opportunity, as long as we're in our positions as we are at the moment. But I guess a few challenges come with it is obviously responsibility. If we're the license holders, only the people that went to TED event actually attended it could hold a license up to 100 people. And as you mentioned, growth is really important, meaning we would like to keep the tradition of having more attendees, as well as nurturing the knowledge that we have and everything that we brought back from, which is not just the right to have the license, but everything we actually, every chat, every discussion with people around us that we're making the same things things happen as us. Having the same goals was incredible. So I guess one of the challenges, it is the responsibility of getting that out to our committee, as well as the events we're going to plan, and the long-term responsibility for actually making it all happen, as well as spending our time getting away from our studies, spending our financials, personal ones, to get there. And it was a huge investment, not in our personal growth, but rather a society as well, and believing in the organization and community that we are able to grow. We have the capacity, we have all the ideas that we need. Was quite challenging, I guess.
And I think something here that really has taken me by surprise is the fact that both of us were we just decided we were going to do this, and we just made it happen. And I think we do this a lot. Actually, a lot of it's me. Gabby has to pull me back sometimes. I get quite passionate. But we do. We are movement makers. We make things happen. And it's quite nice to see that passion for this community, because it's a really special place, TED and TEDx, the people around you. In fact, actually, I was just looking at my notes before. And what I love about TED, so when we went to TEDWomen, we got to attend these amazing TEDx organizer workshops, which helped us to learn more about the organization, but also improve our confidence.
By miles.
By miles, yeah. And one thing I wrote down, which blew my mind, and it still does, is that TED are wanting to gift, they're wanting to share a legacy, a gift to humanity. They're building an archive, and you can see that by all of the talks on the YouTube channel. And I think that's really special, because that's a lot of time and effort and, all of the work that goes into TED. We didn't even know. I mean, some things we knew because we'd seen previous presidents and conferences being organized, and we thought, well, sure, it's going to be a lot of work to plan the event and make sure you've got the funding and the sponsorship and people need to buy tickets. I think both of us, I'll let Gabby speak for herself, but for me, one thing that blew me away, and I came home with my head a bit topsy-turvy, was this idea of curation. This idea of every TEDx experience is not just about talks, it's about an experience that people should come and they should leave with a gift. And that for me was like, oh wow, it's not just getting people in the place they need to be on the day. It's actually helping them through a journey to get to where they need to be to gift the audience with a message on that stage. And that really surprised me. Was there anything for you, Gabriella, that kind of blew your mind like that, where it almost like a light bulb went on, or you thought, oh wow, I did not know that?
I guess there were quite a few, but main one was probably this one as well, because even the way they said it, it wasn't engagement. It wasn't like getting people in, they literally said experience design. You need to design it in a way that actually when you go out, doesn't matter how many talks you had that day, what was in your mind in the morning, you have to get something that will go with you in a long way, meaning that we're actually not building just an audience for us, but we're building a community that can share between each other. And the most valuable things that actually people bring out of these conferences are networking. So there's something that TED and TEDx is all about, and we try to maintain with our local community as well. But it's all the conversations, all the discussions, all the crazy stories you have, usually from talking to people and actually discussing it with the ones that are just besides you, looking at the same talks, being as amazed as you, with the high throughput detail, with everything in the conference. So it was quite mind-blowing. But I guess the long-term relationships that we have, as well as the new approaches, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Absolutely. And another note that I had here as well, which was something that was said, so it's not my words, it's Ted's, but this idea of a community beyond borders, connecting people through curiosity, that was really special, because I love being curious. It's such an important thing to me. And I know Herb Kim, who has been on our podcast and is also a big TEDster, is also all about curiosity. So it's this community that you build around it, and it's a really special thing. So I really like that. Also at this point, we've spoken briefly about networking. So we met some incredible people at TED and at TEDx. So some of the very head people at TEDx, the head of marketing and communications, and that's really helped us to develop new partnerships But we also met some wonderful people who, like us, are students around the world who self-funded to go all the way to California. And we made some great friends. So shout out to them now. We met Jules from
Montpellier,
from Montpellier Business School. Paula from South America. I can't remember exactly where.
Oh, Sao Paulo.
Sao Paulo,
I'm pretty sure, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Can't.
JC from Canberra, or from an Australian university, and Thea. We also met Bianca. We had wonderful TEDWomen tattoos with her, which was great. And Jessica from forget the American institution she works for, but she's an academic.
Yeah, it's near New York, but it's not actually.
But she was great. And so, we really met some wonderful people who were working really hard as well. And I think that sense of community, we basically just hung out together in a big little group all the time, didn't we?
Yeah, we really did. I guess it's the outsider feeling of the conference that's so well put, but also feeling as a community of being, we go through the same struggles. We're here to expand our communities, to be able to broadcast the messages we have further on. So I guess the same goals that actually brought us together, and the feeling of, yes, we're here for the same goals and we want to be here and we want to learn from each other, because it's really powerful when bringing people together.
Absolutely. And what was your expectation before going?
First of all, I thought it was much more mainstream, meaning when we went there, actually, as organizers, we had to be there on Monday evening, even though the conference started at midday afternoon of Wednesday, and we're like, why do we need to? What's happening? So what they actually did, they tried to build on us as a community for organizers as well, meaning every approach we had to a TEDx head of anything was actually so personal. And we knew the names. We met almost everyone from the biggest teams in the world who actually run this whole project, this huge thing. So I guess the personal level and the intimacy of the whole event, it was 1,250 people attendees overall, with speakers included. I'm pretty sure it was. So I did expect a bit more, and I was thinking that it was going to be much more mainstream. You're going to come in, it's going to be like a conference. Even though I knew TED and TEDx, how it runs before, it was still a huge thing, how much detail they put into actually our experience, and that we listened to the messages that the speakers had, but as well as, I guess, some of the talks that actually touched me, that I still keep on thinking about almost every day, are the ones that you could see that the person himself needed to get that into the world. He needed to actually spread, for him to overcome something, or to actually, it was a step for them, a personal development step as well, not just being on stage, but actually they had to go, something just clicked in their head as well while they were talking to us, which meant that actually the experience was so interactive, but also like so intimate. And so actually we were in the room and we looked around and we knew the faces through those 3-4 days. And it was so, I have no idea how to even say it. I'm lost for words. It was just wonderful.
So there was a special session as part of the TEDx Organizer Workshop where we got to watch some of the behind the scenes rehearsals, and that was really cool because they were doing dress rehearsals and going through the lighting and making sure people stayed on time. Because for those of you who don't know, TEDx talks can only be 18 minutes max. That's the rule. There's nothing more. You get cut off otherwise. So it's really strict on that. And that's why you'll see many TEDx talks are much shorter than 18. And sorry, these are TED Talks. We were at a TED event. Mm-hmm. But the thing, I remember the backstage and just going into the venue was such a big moment, because unlike many conferences where you have chairs in a nice hotel or a nice room, there were beanbags and sofas and it was incredible. It was just such a special place. It was this moment of just entering. It felt like we were going into this electric space. I will never forget that moment. We actually almost went to get a snap on the stage with the X behind us, but that was banned. They were very, very strict about that. So it was a shame we didn't get the TED, the big red letters. But just being there was really powerful.
We were so excited. Everyone was buzzing that morning. Every organizer around us, we just looked around and we were like, oh my God, we're actually going to see the behind the scenes and everything. So I guess that's true. That was a big moment for us as organizers, actually. And to realize that people want to feel this when they enter a TEDx conference or a TED conference that we had the opportunity to go to. But even organizing ourselves, we do want people to feel special, that they have this moment now. And every talk is a discussion. It's not just a talk. It's not a presentation. So there are so many things we actually listen to, and we could talk nonstop about them for like 3 days now in this podcast. But it was just a few messages that we tried to mention to our team once in a while to not overbear them with them. But it was still so special and to speak to the curation team, even the curation head of the curation. It was truly incredible that morning. Even though we had the full day before, it was something out of this world, honestly.
Exactly. And they really looked after us. And on the day 2 of our organizer workshop, there was a special workshop where you could do something, and I'll let you share your experience, but mine was that I had signed up for something called the Girls Garage, which was amazing. So I got to play with power tools all afternoon and sawdust and wood, and myself and a group of other TEDsters, TEDx organizers from around the world, and also the 2 facilitators from the Girls Garage. We made planters, so out of wood from scratch, where we all learned how to use like really scary power tools, and it was so fun. And we made these planters that will then have gorgeous plants put into them and flowers, and they've been donated to schools. And we were able to write a message on with a soldering iron, and it was so fun. I can't remember what I wrote. I think it was something like "Be curious" or something like that.
Be brave, wasn't it?
Be brave, maybe. Yeah, it was definitely something like that. And just this idea that we got to give back as a community of attendees to the people of the Californian community around where we were was really special. I don't think there's many conferences you go to where you get to do something fun and interactive like that. And that was a real theme across the whole experience, was this sense of doing something together. And you signed up for something different. What did you do?
I did Science Meets Science Fiction. It was a panel discussion. And it was about actually us going to space, people in 2024 launching the first woman and man together on the moon, and seeing how it will go and where are we moving with the science. There was actually a professor of pharmacy there, so I was like, oh my God, I'm so excited because I'm studying something very similar. And it was about where are we moving as a community, as a species, actually, with tribalism, and how we should be ethical about the approaches we're taking, but where is the limit of where are we going? Because there's no actually ethical training on how to act on space or so there's a lot of questions that we need to address with how we are going and how we're dealing with the environment that's changing around us. So it was actually an opportunity. It was a huge opportunity to actually communicate and network with people that I could never even imagine to have before.
There were some really powerful, incredible women in the room. Some of the speakers that we got to schmooze with. Wow. Even now I'm like, I've got goosebumps thinking about it. And I was very happy because I met some cool podcasters and journalists and creatives, and that was all great. Actually, I'm just thinking about TED Circles. So we found out about a really cool thing while we were there, which we're really excited about, and we're launching this at Newcastle University. So would you like to share about that?
So TED Circles is a gathering which is open to anyone. Anyone can host them as well, which is basically the main goal is to get the people together, watch a TED or TEDx talk and discuss it to see how you approach them. But it's mainly to spark up the conversation, which is all about TED and TEDx. What they try to do is it's a discussion. It's never a presentation or a talk, just a talk to listen to. So that's a community project that we actually have trying to launch at the moment, and we are doing weekly with our students to bring all of the ideas from positive thinking and helping the homeless boxes to how to nurture your worst ideas and how to be original with procrastination as well. So there's a lot of milestones we go to as students and as internationals as well. Like you mentioned, our society is very international. So that circle is just about gathering the people together, anyone from local communities, from a workplace to just a few friends in a group to a school community, anything that could come and discuss things that actually matter in the world.
Yes, and we really love that. And I think it was interesting for me to see they had this thing called a simulcast and a community hub. So if anyone's ever been to a TEDx event, it's often, there'll be really cool spaces where it's not just about a banner stand where someone's got, come along and, look at my stand and take my business card. It's not like that, is it? It's a real activity. It's interactive. You get to... everything that is in front of you, whether it's food or a backdrop or a photo booth, there's some sort of fun connectivity, interactive element to it. And that's really special. I love that. So the Community Hub had brilliant books and really relevant stands that were for social good. So if you bought a beautiful necklace, it was to help women going through human trafficking and trying to rebuild their lives. So it was very healthy food options. In California, everyone's tiny. And we were laughing at some of the dragon fruit crisps that we were eating, and protein bars with peanut butter and all sorts of things. But everything was vegan pretty much as well. There were some meat options, but it was really nice to see the very eco-friendly and vegan and other options. The whole thing felt very wholesome in many ways. I really like that.
Yeah, I guess it's, in a way, it's a conference that's about the things that matter. And in that way, I think that we do think that everything matters from development to, but when you go to a conference, you realize like even their new project that they just launched this year is called The Countdown, which is about environmental change and that we need to act now. So it seems like it could be a very separate project with all the rules that they have. And every day you feel like there's a whole new planet that you're trying to get on and you're trying to bring people alongside you and coach speakers to be in that format. But it's really about the things that matter and what's important now, what we need to focus on and what is important, what needs to be talked about for future generations as well as ourselves to improve our lives. So I guess, like you mentioned, everything that was around us was like so special in a way that was actually had a meaning and had a value to it that's just deeper. And even from vegan breakfast to, like you said, necklaces, and there were books around us. They were given out books, but they were also, you actually had to ask for names of brands to get them. It wasn't promotional at all. It was all about designing an experience, which really stuck with us.
And there was a cool place called a simulcast room where you could actually just go and hang out. So what I really liked about the event, and I would really like to do this at our own event, but it's something that Gabby and I still need to decide, is you weren't allowed any screens in the main theatre. And that was really powerful, I think, because people then paid attention to the speakers. This is something that you always see if you go to an event or a networking or you're somewhere. We all want to take our snap to put on Twitter or put on LinkedIn about the wonderful speaker. And that's great because often they get more visibility for that. But actually, in that space, it was almost like the theatre was sacred. And then there was this opportunity to go and sit in another room where you could just hang out, sit on a sofa. You were able to have your laptop out, have your phone, and you could text or do whatever you needed to. And that was really cool as well, because if you needed a break, you had that space to do that. I thought it was really special. Even though you were still a part of the whole experience of seeing the talks, they were broadcasted on screens all over the conference, all over the space, which was huge. But yeah, I guess you're right with the sacred space. That's why I keep mentioning that it's a discussion, because it really was. Like, I felt what people were feeling on stage. Doesn't matter if I'm 5 rows from them or 16. It was still, I felt what they were saying and that you wanted a feedback. Then even if you listen to some talks that were just uploaded just recently, and we went to them and I listened and I'm like, yes, I was there. And I remember me cheering them on every time they slip up or every time that you can see them shed a tear, even when you feel that they're actually speaking about something that really matters to them and they're really passionate about it, but also scared of sharing it with the world. It was about encouraging each other. That's why it was so, so, so important. But I guess
having a space by, and that's why we want to do maybe the mindfulness workshop in our conference, which would be a similar thing, as well as community hub, to have a space to, if you want to communicate, but also a space to be with yourself. Maybe someone wants to pray, maybe someone just needs a minute to actually relax, because it's a very overwhelming experience if you're not as extrovert as we sometimes are, you and me and you. So it's, I guess that's where you mentioned community without borders. You have to acknowledge there are going to be people that will never have experienced this before, and it's powerful messages that go around the room, which means everyone might need a step back at times, which Ted really accompanied with everything they did, from food options to even the weather itself. It was supposed to be sunny. It rained 2 days. We're super surprised.
But we didn't even mind, because it was such a special place around us. Actually, at this point, I really want to share the session that kind of blew my mind. So Gabby and I had this session where we were just a few seats from the front. We were right at the front in the rows. We had really a good view, and there were brilliant speakers about all kinds of different topics, but then there was a special performance, and it was actually Macy Gray. And for those who don't know, because Macy Gray is quite a while ago, you know, from the 90s, she sang a song called Try. And I mean, she sang many of her various musical pieces while we were there and we watched the show. But everybody in the room was holding hands and singing. And actually, Gabriella and I had been trying to deal with some issues back home in Newcastle for relating to TED and relating to TEDx, but relating to our society. We were having an event back home, and we had a lot of challenges that we needed to sort out from an international location, you know, while we were at TEDWomen, and it was really tricky. And so we were feeling a bit frazzled. It had been 3 or 4 days of quite intense networking and topics, and this song came on, and just this holding hands with everyone and singing together, it's making us both tear up right now in the studio. And it was really powerful. I think as well, just before that, or just that day, we'd seen a performance by 2 artists who were in wheelchairs performing a ballet piece. And that was something I've never seen before in my life. So that session for me of TEDWomen, I came out and I'm just thinking about it now, and it was so powerful.
It was Taboo Breakers, I believe, where it was about all the things we're scared about talking, but also why do we fear the people around us, how to approach the people you're in a relationship with. It was so many topics, even about divorce, or what was about? It was about menstrual pause?
Menopause. Yeah.
So it was a lot of...
And actually, it was about both. It was about menopause and menstruation, so periods. You know, this is something where... And we had our friend Jules with us from Montpellier, who's a guy, and he was like, wow, I've learned a lot about women. So it was really about breaking taboos, but also opening up these conversations that you would never normally have.
True. Very true. I guess... Even now the talks have come out, and I look at the channel once in a while now to see if anything else from the conference popped up, just because I do listen to them regularly, but those talks were the ones we actually felt. So like, even when you listen to them, so some of them, I think it was menstruation one, when I just sent it to my friend, and I sent it even to my boyfriend, was like, you need to listen to this. And I was like, do I really? And I was like, yes, you do. It's not a scientific talk. It's about understanding what people go through in just different perspectives, approaches, lifestyles, anything. And that's what went into that session, where it was so strong. It just to break the things that actually strangle us at times.
Exactly. So I'm just mindful of the time. Before we go, I want to share what it was like to have gone to this event and what it meant to us. So not only are we both students, we had to actually ask for special permission to take time off university to go, self-funding this, which was expensive, but the opportunity to network with women from all over the world, and men, you know, some incredible men we got to meet, the opportunity to meet TEDx organizers, to grow ourselves as project managers, event managers, curators, the learning we got, the amazing food and opportunities. How often do you get to have a party in the desert? You know, it was really special.
It was some of the ideas that we brought on. It was not even, sometimes they touched us on such a personal level, like you mentioned. But it was, I guess, I do want to mention one talk that stick to me, and I guess I think about it at least once a day. I really do. It was about, so it was Valerie Condis-Field who presented it, and she's an UCLA coach, gymnastics coach. But the way she talked about how to raise the people and how to support the people that are under your guidance, that it's not about winning. It will never be about winning. In a healthy relationship and raising of those people, it will be about champions in life, how to approach them with actually credibility, with responsibility, how to actually positivity, passion, how every experience you have has to have a certain way of approaching it. And what do you ask your kids on your way home? And it's just, it was, even to me, was so relatable in all the ways that all the people around us, like we do say, we do run the society and the committee, and we try to support everyone around us and work around them, and they work around us a lot. But it's about how do we actually support those people and how we make, like, help them grow as well as grow each other and help and mentor each other. So I guess that was the talk that I was like, yes, I do want this. That's my leadership goal. That's the way I want to lead my life and nourish people around me. So I guess there are some talks that really, really stuck to us in a personal level, which I'm so grateful for.
Exactly. And I'm so grateful for you sharing that. It's reminded me about that talk also. And yeah, I think we both came away with a very personal experience, and fingers crossed we'll get our license from TEDx soon to expand past 100 plus.
Yes, please.
Because we will be giving up our time for years to come, probably in the next 3 years.
Absolutely.
And that big investment, I think, will grow this community and this special space that we're making, and bringing some of that magical Californian sparkle back to Newcastle upon Tyne.
Some of the sand, and experience and encouragement as well.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for chatting today, Gabby, and reflecting on TEDWomen. And that's all, folks. So we hope you loved hearing about TEDWomen in California. And now we are joined by Paula from Argentina.
Hello everyone, I'm Paula Ramos. I'm from Argentina, and this is the first time that I'm in a podcast. What is even better is it's a episode about TEDWomen, so it's amazing. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Well, as I was saying, I'm Paula Ramos. I'm 24 years old. I have a degree in international relations, and I'm currently studying for an MBA. My TEDx experience started 6 years ago with a friend of mine. We created TEDx USA for my university, and it's been a really, really amazing journey. We are 50 volunteers working all day long to create really nice talks and to share ideas and empower people from my city. So I really love the work that we are doing. I'm really proud of it. And I'm really happy that it's been 6 years now. Well, I participated in TEDWomen, and I don't know how to put it into words, but it was a life-changing, really, a truly life-changing experience. And if you ask me what I love the most, I would say that the people that I met, TEDxers from all over the world, it was amazing. I still can't believe my luck. I love listening to their experience and their passion for spreading ideas. It's been so empowering. Everyone that I met were amazing, and they have great ideas, and they inspire me to do best and to do better. If you ask me what I might do differently after this event, I probably would change some curation things. I really love how some people developed their ideas and their breakthroughs. So I want to share with my team that what I've learned and try to apply those ideas into really inspiring talks. I believe that I've learned a lot from the workshops and for listening to you guys, all the TEDxers, and it's been great. And I want to share that with my team. TEDWomen was amazing. I can put it into words. I wish that everyone could have the possibility to attend to one and to meet the people that I met. And anyway, I want to thank you, Ashley. I'm really happy that I met you, and thank you for giving me this space. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you for listening to TEDx Newcastle University podcast. This podcast is kindly sponsored by TL Multimedia, That Branding Company, and Blind Sea Photo.